So thank you all for coming on Sunday morning, and I will try to make this as brief and as informative as possible. So the topic that I am presenting today is the predictive genomics, and this is something which is of great interest to me because being practicing for about 22 years and day in and day out, you do realize that not everybody is same. So, are we just going by numbers? Are we going to put people in boxes? This always troubled me, even when I was doing medicine in medical school as well. So, that is the passion that I had when I was going into genomics, and we just scratched the surface. There are more to come. So, let me start with a scenario. Usually, in these scenarios, they start with a very grim picture of you have a 25-year-old breast cancer, 22-year-old heart attack. So let me do it the other way around. So this is my patient who is 58-year-old. He has type 2 diabetes mostly for 5 years. His HbA1c is 6.9 because as per definition we have to call him diabetic. Overweight, BMI of around 27, doesn't do anything, doesn't work out. He's a smoker, not an 4-pack, 5-pack smoker, but a decent one. He smokes about 4 to 5 cigarettes a day, and he enjoys a drink every weekend, and he's past 55. So the thing I'm trying to bring is he has a heart of 30-year-old. No blocks, completely clean calories, no CT score, nothing. So by any definition you put into his algorithm, he should be having a risk of high risk Framingham. You do any calculation, whatever is there in the world, he should be having some disease in his heart, but doesn't. So what is protecting him? So his habits and everything should make him sick, but no. So his genes are protecting him. So I want to start with a Sunday morning with a positive note that maybe we are lucky as him. So we will start there. So he has bad habits but great genes. So if you are telling yourself that you have good habits, does your genes support in the good habits is a bigger question. So there are a lot of things which are all these conditions. So my interest is always has been polygenic conditions. They were not into single gene conditions that we know of, and I am not talking about the cancer, the somatic. Once you have cancer, the somatic predictions. I am only going to talk in this discussion about the predictive AI scoring algorithm for non-communicable diseases. Today tools, whatever that we have, you call them any predictive model. So you put in your heart and conditions and everything into Framingham score, it gives you a score. There is same thing for Japan, there is same thing for China, there is even in India we have multiple scoring systems. But every risk calculator and the most health AI right now, unfortunately it has not been developed for each community, each ethnicity, each condition. So it is always done in Europeans. The reason I bring this up today is because we went through multiple cycles of these innovations. So how many of you know that a regular pulse oximeter doesn't read our saturations right? So this is something which popped up in after COVID, that because it was color coded, the technology is it picks up the color of the RBC and decides what is the oxygenation, and it is tested on white skinned people. So it reads at least 3 to 8% above what it usually is in brown people. So that is when we realized that every code which was developed, it has to be calibrated to each ethnicity. That is when the real accuracies will come into picture. So this we learnt painfully after multiple COVID incidents. Now you can use your calibrations, because right now there is a mandate that we have to calibrate every technology which is an AI driven towards each ethnicity. So 9 out of 10 genetic clues behind are from European populations. I'm not saying that we are all humans and we are all Homo sapiens and everything, but within these Homo sapiens, the pathogenicity is different. So if you look at coronary artery disease population pathogenicity, it is not just one. I'm just taking it as an example. I can talk about multiple conditions, but let us talk about only cardiogenetic risks. So there are at least 8 pathways in which the heart attack happens. It is not just LDL, plaque, and then plaque slowly blocking. It is multiple things. There is an epithelial injury, there is an autoimmunity factor, there is an NOS pathway, there is atherosclerotic pathway, there is LDL pathway, there is thrombosis pathway. So all these pathways are critical, and we need to see which pathway is making them prone to these conditions. And this differs between each community as well. So India is not one genetic makeup, it is thousands of genetic makeups which are very much endogamous, and especially the South Indian. In our research, what we found is after Ashkenazi Jews, Nordic Islanders, South Indian Dravidian population is one thing which is endogamous from almost 2 to 3,000 years. So we never migrated, we were never invaded, and the invasion did not happen in northern parts of the India, but not in the southern part of the India. So this is all endogamous, which is caste endogamy. Within the caste, we never married out of the caste, never married out of the district. So at least 200 years back, crossing the river is a sin. So we have to between the river. So I don't know about your Vaitharani effect. So none of the people crossed Vaitharani because apparently that is the death sentence. You cannot cross that river. So that those kind of an environment. So endogamous population difference. So this is a landmine of genetic data that what we can work on. So if you read your genes in plain words, there are 3 things. So because we have a multiple, I made it into simple one. So there are big switches, which means there is a very significant mutation which is most likely probably driving the condition. These are called big switches. And then they are called multiple small nudges. So these are the reason why this polygenic disease is this. The human nature is, or the evolution process is, any abnormality, the natural selection will act into place and it will try to silence. Okay, there is a mutation, and because of the mutation, the person might die. So the body will automatically adapt. So when this will happen, even though there is a big switch, there are multiple smaller nudges which will push them into the having the condition. And these multiple small nudges are like a guns, and the triggers are your lifestyle factors. So that is the reason why if you look at the whole picture, not everybody who smokes will develop lung cancer, not everybody who smokes will develop a heart attack, not everybody who drinks will develop a cirrhosis of the liver. So these are the small nudges. You should have that guns, and then the trigger will pull these things. And then we have to look at the whole systems, and then we need to act on. So how this engine works is, now we look at into rare high impact variants as the level 1 in the high impact genes, and then we look into population calibrated score. This is where the own AI modeling works. And then we look into pathway, which pathway is acting, which pathway is working. So because if you act on the pathway, that is when the physician will know, okay, this is the pathway which is affected, this is the treatment which we should start prematurely or even as a preventive measure. And this is the data that we presented last month in Ljubljana. Apparently this is pronounced as Ljubljana in Slovenia, in European Conference of Preventive Cardiology. And this is where we are trying to say that by genetic testing we can risk predict people into moderate and high risk depending on their genetic structure, starting at the age of 30. And then we can slowly progress by adding the age, gender on top of the layer. So we have the genetic infrastructure, and then we have a risk scoring only for genetic. We add age, we add factors, we add BMI, we add their complete ApoA levels and lipid profile. That is when the real risk will pop in. So the genes are on turnover. There is a full picture of it. So these are the ROC curves we have. We are around 0.81% accuracy when we are trying to predict this one. And this been recognized as USFDA as in an AI competition that this prediction is almost explainable AI. So right now, the reason how this was possible and how this is relevant is, so this would not have been possible without NVIDIA grant that we had. So we ran all our 12,000 samples in a single run within a span of 2 months with NVIDIA GPUs. So that is when we understood the whole picture at once. Without the GPU compute, just with the server system, we cannot run this kind of things. And the analysis is run on the AI layer on top of it. We work with Databricks on that one. And these models are right now sitting as service in BioNeMo models and adaptive AI algorithms. So again, why this is important? So the right prediction saves lives and right data innovates science. So this is win for the patient and the doctor. There is no brainer. And again, I'm coming back to my friend. So who is 58-year-old, who should have the condition. So and now I'm giving the grim picture. So out of 12,000 people we have, there are only 8 people who carries the beautiful mutation. So that is how rare they are. So why is this important? So the reason that I'm putting in R&D partners here is, so there is a hypothesis, we need to prove that one, but if there is a gene and there is a mutation which is inhibiting a protein from being expressed, then, and it is protecting the person, that is when the discovery happens. So if you look at PCSK9, right now we are prescribing PCSK9. That reason is, if the PCSK9 protein, it is completely knockout and the patient has a better LDL levels and protective, cardioprotective, that is the one that every pharma company is chasing. That is when the discovery or a new target is developed, and that is when. So imagine a country where we have this mutation which is being present in this my 50-year-old friend, and then we try to put that, or we try to silence or enhance that mutation in everybody. That is a treatment by itself. So that is what the real data collect is important. So I will just give 4 things which you can take home. So your genes are the missing piece of predicting risk, and every population is different, and we have to validate our models in every ethnicity. So unless it is completely ingrained into the ethnicity within the population, it is not, accuracy levels are always low. And AI must be trained and tested on every population it will serve. And the most important take-home message is your just regular blood work and European benchmark algorithms usually under or over predicts your real risk. Take any condition. So it is almost always over predicts in our population. So the bottom line is, the risk predictions are only trustworthy once it has been validated for the person in front of you. So prevention should be personal, and thank you for your time and the opportunity. I would thank the organizing team and Chinnababu for this opportunity. Sunday morning, thanks for coming, and hopefully this will give you some insights about AI in healthcare. Thank you.